Hello, everyone. Welcome. We are very excited to have you join us today. We're going to give it just a minute as folks get logged in. But as you get connected, drop a little note in the chat. We want to know who's here. We want to know when your golf tournament is, if you're planning one, and where you're joining us from today. So drop a little note, say hello. Very excited to have everyone here. I see a couple of bots joining us, and I'll be booting those out. It looks like we have a Firefly note taker, so I'll boot that out. Anyone else that has kind of a note taker will kick out, but we're excited to have everyone joining us. Thank you. Hello, welcome. It looks like we have a putt tournament in September. That's fantastic. We were just talking about it is just starting to become golf weather throughout. Hopefully you're starting to see golf weather where you're at. Today we are talking about selling out your golf tournament. We are very excited to be partnering with GolfStatus. In our world, we do so much fundraising with big galas and big events. And when we show up on a golf site, we are not the golf experts. So we partner with the awesome team over at GolfStatus. Amazing partners to us. They help us with a lot of educational content, a lot of best practices, and the best part is that when we have a golf tournament, we're able to show up and do the mission-focused storytelling and have GolfStatus as our partners to make sure that the actual golf tournament goes well. I think Logan did a webinar with us just last season and said you do not have to be a golf expert to plan a golf tournament, and that is definitely true if you have GolfStatus joining you. A couple of quick notes and business while we get started. I just want to make sure you know we have some incredible sponsors that join us for this, and we want to thank all of our sponsors that are part of our educational session, our partners at GolfStatus, at Bloomerang, at the Fundraising Event Company, at Next Day Animation, and at Zach Putnam Productions. We also want to make sure you know that today's podcast is being recorded, and you can find it over where all of our webinars live. We have some excellent past webinars as well as future webinars that are coming up. So you'll be able to find it in our home, our education home, including next month's webinar. We hope that you'll join us. We're going to be working with Paige Jacobs, who is an expert in helping to design events for non-neurotypical attendees, so making your event inclusive for everyone. So we hope you'll join us for that. And we hope that you'll tune into the Fundraising Elevator, where we have a podcast every week where we talk about your fundraising events. So without further ado, I'm going to stop screen sharing. I'm going to welcome Logan to the stage, and I'm going to pass it over to you. It looks like we have a lot of folks in the chat that have lots of tournaments coming up, including some in very snowy locations like Minnesota and very warm locations like Jacksonville, Florida. So Logan is here to help you understand how to make sure your golf tournament is a sold-out event. And Logan, I'm going to turn my camera off and take notes so that we can have some time for Q&A at the end.
Perfect. Thank you, Sam. And thank you to Swaim Strategies for having me on again. Always love doing these sessions with Swaim. So today we're going to talk about kind of just a guide to a sold-out and profitable charity golf tournament. So we're going to go over a lot of different strategies to give you some ideas to really get as many golfers to your tournament as possible. And I'm going to start by going over why golf events really can help you accomplish so many different goals, including just really finding a bunch of broader goals your golf tournament can help support your nonprofit with. We'll look at how you can help drive sponsor interest and revenue with your field of golfers. Then we'll end with how you can best leverage technology to help you simplify the whole planning process of putting on the golf tournament, as well as just the overall management and the execution of the golf tournament. And like Sam mentioned, we will end with a live Q&A, so be sure to drop those questions in the chat, and we'll get to as many of those as we possibly can. So first, we do have a couple poll questions before we dive into all of the content. So the first one's very easy, basic. Have you ever planned a golf tournament? Yes or no? I'd just like to kind of get a feel for kind of everyone's experience level. Usually with the sessions I do, it's usually probably a pretty good mixed bag. A lot of people who have a lot of experience, but then a lot of people who have never done it before. I kind of consider it for the very first time. And I'll kind of get into kind of why, if you are a first timer doing this and maybe you're not too familiar with golf, kind of like Sam said at the outset, you do not have to be an expert whatsoever to pull off a golf tournament. And wow, it looks like we are almost dead even. 52% of you have played a golf tournament before, and 48% of you have not. So that's perfect. Love that we have a good mix of both first timers as well as uh, some experience in the room as well. So before we get going, Sam said this at the very beginning, and she said I said it in the last webinar I did with her, and I'm going to say it again in this webinar. You don't have to be a golf expert in order to pull off a successful golf tournament. Technology makes it very possible for anyone out there to hold a golf tournament, whether you're an individual, a passionate supporter of a nonprofit, maybe you're a corporate entity who's putting on an event for your employees, but also want to attach a charity aspect to it, a third party. Doesn't matter. Help is available. There are tools and technology that can really help you along the way and just make the whole process so much easier for you. And it's really, golf is a fantastic opportunity for a fundraiser because there are really a lot of opportunities within the tournament that can help you raise money. And so it's a really great time now to tap into, there's almost $4.6 billion raised annually for charity through the game of golf. And there's so many opportunities within your tournament that you can take advantage of to kind of help how much money you're bringing in, add-on sales like mulligans. You can do a raffle, attach an auction to your tournament, on-course contests, entertainment, collecting just straight donations. There's so many opportunities to really build in some great fundraising within the golf tournament. And we'll get into a lot of that as we continue on here. But one of the great things about golf is it really can help support your nonprofit's broader goals. It can do really a lot for your nonprofit. So first and foremost, it can raise awareness about your organization, about your cause, what your mission is. Really great opportunity to connect all of your attendees to the work that you are doing at your nonprofit. And golf is really good at attracting the right donors as well as sponsors to your event. Golf is already an activity that most donors, especially big time donors, already genuinely enjoy. And golf's popularity has continued to grow. Really, it took off big in 2020 during the pandemic. It's kind of just continued to grow from there. But with golf, you can also offer any potential sponsors out there a lot of great exposure to a very high end audience. And these are the folks that sponsors want to get in front of, and these are the folks that you want to get your nonprofit in front of so you can bring them into your donor database. And here's just a look at some of the demographics of golfers. So amongst golfers, their average net worth is almost $740,000. Household income is twice the national average. 1 in 3 are top level managers or decision makers at their place of work. 1 in 4 own their business, and 91% are homeowners. So really, these stats speak to this group of people being a very highly affluent and influential demographic that you definitely want to get in front of to get into your donor database, but also you can use in your pitch to any potential sponsors when trying to get them on board to support your event. But golf events also allow you to expand your donor base as well. So if you're looking to get some more people involved with your nonprofit or just get more eyeballs on your nonprofit, golf is a great way to do that. Most charity events are that we see are scrambles. So they're typically 4-person teams. So what we typically see happen is one person who's familiar with your nonprofit, familiar with your event schedule, sees the event, signs up, and then they bring along 3 of their friends to field a team. And what happens is likely those 3 people maybe have never even heard of your nonprofit, or maybe they've heard of it, but they don't really know much about it. So you get a lot of time with those folks at your golf tournament to kind of connect them to your cause, get them familiar with who you are, what you do, and hopefully bring them back in as kind of regular donors throughout the year. Bring them back to the golf tournament next year. Bring them maybe into a few more events throughout the year. So you get the opportunity to get in front of people who aren't familiar with you, and hopefully steward them forward into more consistent donors for your nonprofit. Golf also allows you to, advance important relationships. When it comes to sponsors, businesses often see the value in sponsoring golf events and are usually very eager to send a team, whether it be for networking opportunities or maybe just some employee appreciation. But you can use your time on the golf course with them to kind of forge and steward those corporate connections and hopefully turn that one sponsorship into some more broader support for your organization. And this also applies to your donors as well. You can have the time on the golf course to steward them and build that relationship. A golf tournament is really effective at doing this pretty much because of just how long it is. I always say a quick golf tournament is 4 hours. You're more than likely looking at 4.5 to 5, maybe 5.5 hour long event when you get through getting everyone checked in, actually playing golf, and then any sort of post round dinner, award ceremony, whatever it may be. You're going to be there with them a while, so you can take advantage of that. Use that time to connect with them, have those great face-to-face conversations, and just really get them engaged with your organization, and hopefully use that time to kind of build on the relationship that you've built with them, and again, just steward them forward and get them into your donor database if you don't have them yet, or if they already are donors, just continue to steward that relationship. So let's get into some actionable ideas to get more golfers to your tournament. So getting golfers to your tournament really boils down to kind of just giving golfers, what they want. What do they want to get out of participating? Well, really, they want uh, three things, in my opinion. They want a fun day on the golf course. They want a great overall experience. And at the end of the day, they want to feel really good about being there. So they want to feel good about, supporting a really nice, really great cause. So one of the first things that you can do to provide them these things, get them out to the golf course, so you can have the opportunity to provide them these things, is use an event website to communicate about the event, get more eyeballs on the tournament. An event website makes promotion very easy, makes it very efficient. You simply just share your link and all of your promotion, your website link, and all the promotion you're putting out there. So on your organization's website, you can put it in all of your emails. I see some organizations put the registration link in their staff's email signatures throughout the kind of the promotion period of the event. Ask your supporters to share the link with their networks. If you are doing any print promotion, you can use a QR code or even a URL shortener. But that website link and all of your promotion is your call to action. So you just put it in there and it just makes that promotion very easy. Within the website, you want to include event logistics and details. So you kind of want to treat it as your information hub for the event. Find out the info about the course, the format, any registration info, what a golfer all receives, when's the event starting. Basically, everything that a golfer needs to know, make sure is included on that event website. And then you can use that event website to share any updates that may come about throughout the promotion of the event. So folks can refer back to the website, see any updates, be sure to communicate those to registrants and refer them back to that website before, during, even after your event. And then also use it as a really good opportunity to share your organization's story. When it comes to selling, storytelling is very, very powerful. And so here you're kind of selling golfers on why they should come out and participate in your golf tournament. And a big part of that is your mission, the work that you do at your nonprofit. So keep it clean, professional, but really include enough information about your organization to compel people to support it. So photos, short testimonials, testimonials from the people that your organization serves. So you really put a face to your nonprofit. Maybe even a short video or some pictures from the event last year. That's a really great way to promote the event for any of you returning organizers to kind of show how much fun was had the year before. So really take advantage and use that website to tell your organization's story and to try and help compel people to want to show up and participate. And then big part of having an event website is being able to take registration online. Um, this does a lot of different things for you as the organizer. It really makes your life a lot easier. So instead of collecting paper forms, written checks, having people find a stamp to mail in their registration, or maybe some people called me and they want to sign up over the phone. Some people emailed me. So instead of having all of these different avenues where you're collecting registrations, you just send it all through the same funnel, which is your event website. So it saves you a ton of time and headaches as the event organizer. Plus, I think this day and age, people really are expecting online registration. We're just so used to it. And when I get an invite to participate in an event, whether it's a golf tournament or any other kind of event, I'm looking for where I can sign up online. So I think it's really expected these days, but it also saves you, the event organizer, a ton of time as well. But it also makes it easy for golfers to commit. They're more likely to commit when they can do it as soon as they hear about it. They've been scrolling on their phone, they see the event, they go to the site, they learn more, and then, oh, I want to play in this. No one's going to put their phone down and like, oh, let me go send an email, make a phone call, send a letter to commit to this. No, they want to do it right then and there. So it makes that barrier to registration just incredibly low, and that's what you want. Um, so this is just another reason why the event website is so important. They can register right away with very few barriers. Um, and it just makes everything so much simpler. So online registration makes it easy for the players. It makes it easy for the organizers. Everything is organized in one spot. You don't have to deal with countless spreadsheets, hunting down payments the day of. That is, as a company that's worked with thousands of charity golf tournaments, one of the number one headaches we hear from people who either didn't use online registration or weren't collecting payments as part of registration is it was the worst when I had to show up the morning of the tournament and search for those people I hadn't collected payments from yet. You can absolutely avoid that by using online registration with online payment processing. I can't recommend that enough. And that secure payment processing is key. Saves you a ton of time because when you get to the morning of the event, you don't want to be worried about the tedious things like collecting payments. You want to be welcoming people, having those face-to-face conversations, thanking them for being there. That's your time to have that face-to-face time with your supporters instead of doing, back-end logistics, trying to get everything organized. Have that done beforehand. Next, to really help promote the event is you want to leverage your digital channels. So talking about things like email campaigns, social media, your websites. These are very cost and time effective, so you want to take advantage of them as much as you can. Really makes very easily allows you to easily reach potential golfers and sponsors without a ton of time or effort. If you do have the budget, paid social campaigns can be very useful, and they don't have to be terribly expensive. So that's always something to consider. You really want to coordinate any social posts you're doing with the email campaigns you're planning on doing. This will help drive even more traffic to your event website. You'll send a save the date as soon as it's set, then maybe another 6 or so months ahead, and then another reminder a couple months out. So really get that scheduled out so you have a really good plan going forward in your promotion. And you can even do a final kind of last chance push just ahead of the deadline to submit numbers to the golf facility, or if you still have any slots open. Hopefully you can get sold out. But if you still got some teams out, kind of plan kind of maybe a last push at the very end to see how many more teams you can get before you need to get all that information over to the golf course staff. Then obviously in all your promotion, include that link to your event website. All digital promotion should link directly to that event website so people can, again, that's the call to action. That's where they need to go, sign up, find out more about the event, include that in every single piece of your promotion. And then also recognize sponsors with these digital channels as well. Add sponsor logos in any promo emails you send, and give shout outs on social media. That's something I love that events do. Every time they get a new sponsor, they do a dedicated social media post recognizing and thanking that sponsor. Adds a ton of value, I think, to that sponsorship package they purchase, and really doesn't cost you anything at all. So it's really a win-win for you and the sponsors. Then another great way to kind of get more or get almost a sold out field of golfers, a really good place to start is with your past participants and supporters. I mean, those are the folks that you know them, you have their info. They're most likely to support your organization again because they've already done it in the past. So it's really just a natural place to start to begin promoting the event, as it's really the easiest to sell. They're the low hanging fruit. They're the ones most likely to get signed up right away. If they played an event before, they're more likely to do it again. So start your promo with this group, which can be really as simple as a quick email that sends them to the event website. If yours is a first year event, which sounds like about half of you in the session have that first year event, start with your core supporters or participants, from your other fundraising events. This theory really still applies if you haven't done a golf tournament yet. Start with them. Again, they're the most likely to convert right away. And then send personal invitations as well. So mailed invites make the most sense to this group. I think it's more personal since you've known them. It'll make more sense. And thank them for their past support in that written invite, and ask them to participate again. If you are using any sort of mail, snail mail, be sure to have that QR code on there so that, again, jumps them right to the event website. And then ask them to share that with others. So really see if they can tap into their own networks to help build a team, multiple teams, whatever it may be. Make it easy by giving them some pre-formatted graphics and some verbiage they can share with others on their social media accounts, and really just try to leverage that word of mouth as much as you can because that's very powerful. So if you have that really good core supporters, take advantage of them. Thank them, make them feel really special, ask them to come out to the event, but then see if you can use them as well to kind of help in your promotional efforts. And also solicit donations as well. So even if folks aren't local to the golf tournament, or maybe they have something else going on that day, they can still make a donation that supports the event. So make sure that the website that you are utilizing has the ability to collect straight donations. I have a couple stories of event organizers who weren't doing that. Then they started doing it, and they were just floored by how many just straight donations they received from folks who didn't play in the golf tournament, but they wanted to support it. So you never know, you could be leaving money on the table if you don't offer them that ability to just make a straight donation of the amount of their choosing. Next thing you want to do when it comes to really trying to get the word out and promote the event is really calling on your board, your planning committee, and any volunteers that you're working with. Really make them have them an active role in recruiting your golfers. So all these folks should have that role when it comes to recruiting golfers. And what I like seeing some of these events do is they ask each of them to make a list of give me 5 to 10 contacts that you'll personally reach out to about playing in the event or even sponsoring the event. People that you know, people think they'll be interested, golfers make a list and go after them and get specific with them and give them specific but manageable requests. So this gives them really an actionable goal and makes it easier for them to deliver. Include this in your committee meetings. Really hold everyone accountable. Go around the table and say, "Give me an update on your list of 6, 7, 8, 9, however many people you listed. Have you reached out to them? How did it go? What are your action items? Are you following up with them? Have they committed?" Just hold everyone accountable and just make sure kind of everyone keeps moving forward and is on the same page. But having that list and that actionable those actionable items that they can work on really makes the process a lot smoother. And then kind of assist them in those efforts as well by providing them some talking points and maybe some templates as well. This will kind of help ensure that the messaging is consistent across, phone calls they're making, emails they're sending, makes it much more easier for them to reach out. So again, make sure everything that they're doing, they're linking back to that event website where people can go sign up. But you want to make sure that everyone on your planning committee, your volunteers, your board, anyone that has anything to do with this golf tournament, give them that active role in helping you recruit golfers as well as sponsors. And then when it comes to, really talking mostly about sponsorship, but we could be a team of golfers as well. Connect with those local businesses. This is a really great opportunity to engage employees and clients. Businesses often use golf events to engage, reward their employees, maybe entertain clients or prospective clients. So these are really prime candidates for sponsorships, but also could be used to fill teams as well. So where it makes sense with your event, I love when I see events build teams into sponsorship packages. Obviously, the sponsorship package needs to be a certain dollar amount, so you're not giving away a very cheap team to a lower tiered sponsor. But where it makes sense is a really great strategy to kind of kill two birds with one stone. So getting sponsorships only, also getting a field of golfers in there, and if the sponsor is right, the price is right, most sponsors will jump at the chance not only to sponsor the golf event, but then go out there and play. Get a day out of the office. If you're having the event on a weekday. So where that makes sense, definitely consider that. Also, you want to check for personal connections within your board planning committee. Work with those folks to kind of make a list of at least 10 local businesses that might be interested in setting a team if they have any personal connections. Same with promoting to potential golfers as it is an agenda item to kind of keep everyone accountable, but just look for those personal connections with all the folks you work with. They can really help you get in the foot in the door and maybe at least get a meeting set with these businesses to pitch your golf event to them. Next thing you really want to focus on when it comes to just promoting the event in general is get personal. And I kind of mentioned this already with kind of reaching out to your core supporters first, but you want to contact your donors, especially your existing donors directly. So a personal phone call, email, text, in-person meeting really might move the needle a lot for these folks. Sending that personal letter as well can really help. So utilize tools that really allow you to focus on relationships. This approach can be time consuming, which makes using tools that make handling the logistics a lot easier, so you can focus on these key relationships. And we'll talk a little bit more about tech that helps streamlines planning here in a few slides, but make sure you're utilizing as many tools as you can to streamline, some of those tedious logistical tasks. That way you can focus on these personal relationship building messages to get as many golfers out to your field or out to your golf event as possible. And then keep supporters engaged and further your donor stewardship. So an invitation to the golf event is another touch point with donors that really makes them feel connected to your mission and kind of helps lay the foundation for continued support and involvement. It also might be a good way to get back in contact with any donors you haven't heard from in a while as well. So don't forget to kind of extend that invite there too. You never know who may want to come back, especially if it's your first time running a golf event. That might be the type of event that gets them a little bit more back involved. And I kind of think this goes a little bit hand in hand with getting personal, but really help golfers understand the impact of their participation. You really want to create a meaningful connection to your cause. People want to know how their support had an impact. Provide as much context for where and how every dollar counts, and be as specific as you possibly can be. So equate the value of a whole sponsorship or team registration with a tangible, specific outcome. So, for example, a whole sponsorship feeds a family in need for a full year, or a team registration covers the cost of providing books to 10 underserved classrooms in our community. Really making the outcome tangible makes it easier for people to connect to the cause, and it's probably a really good selling point in their head to like, well, I really should get involved with this tournament. Here's exactly what my money is going to do. And you really want to communicate this whenever possible, as many times as you can. So include this on your event website, personal email, mass email campaigns, social media, just in face-to-face conversations. Like I said earlier, storytelling is a really effective sales strategy, and this is part of that storytelling. Building in that cause connection, getting specific with how the money is going to be used, can be very powerful and can help you convert more folks into golfers for your event as well as sponsors. So let's get into the importance of your sponsors. For those of you that don't know, this is where you're going to make the most money with your golf event. It's probably the case with a lot of other fundraising events, but it also is the case with your golf event as well. This is where you're going to bring in the bulk of your event's income. So we've seen sponsorships sell for upwards of $50,000 at a golf event. It really obviously depends on the event, but the golf course you're playing at, the event's audience, what's provided with the sponsorship, but can be a lot of lucrative sponsorship packages you can put together for your golf tournament. If you have the right mix of the golf course, a large audience. But even if you were just starting out, you can still get a lot of money brought in for sponsorships as well. You don't have to be a well-established event that's been around for 30 years. You can definitely do something like this in your first couple of years and just continue to build on it. And really, you can offer sponsorships for just about anything. The technology, the flags on the golf course, the beverage cart, player prizes, luncheon, caddies, golf carts, really anything you can put a logo on, you can sell a sponsorship for at a golf tournament. So this really opens doors for a lot of corporate partnerships as well as high capacity donors. Golf events introduce your organization to new partners. It also gives you the chance to steward them and network with them over the course of the entire event, and hopefully again build that relationship so much that they want to support your nonprofit in other areas as well. And businesses really, they're looking for a win-win, obviously, when it comes to supporting a golf event or sponsoring any type of event. So, they want to be associated with a worthy cause while, also gaining exposure for their brand. And the more golfers you're able to bring to your event, the more exposure for your sponsors. So that's kind of if you're just getting started, that's really a good thing to focus on. Obviously, you want to sell sponsorships to bring in as much money as you can, but focusing at the same time on building your field of golfers, that's what then you can go to sponsors in year 2, year 3, year 4. Say, hey, I've been doing this for four years now. I have 144 golfers I'm bringing to this event, or maybe even more. That's gonna really get some sponsors' ears to perk up, and they're gonna pay attention. So more golfers equals more exposure for sponsors, more exposure to that very influential demographic we went over earlier. So this is that's something you want to keep in mind when pitching sponsors, especially if you are someone that has done this for a few years and you can almost guarantee how many golfers that you might be bringing to your event. That is the type of things that sponsors do really want to hear when considering sponsoring an event. So now when it comes to selling out your sponsors, kind of like when it comes to selling out your golf field, you want to start with existing relationships that you have. So activate your volunteers, board, planning committee, and tap into those networks. See who can get you a meeting, who can get your foot in the door. Ask them to make intros if they're comfortable with that. You also want to leverage your vendors, partners, and any other companies you already do business with. They may be happy to support your event and kind of gain exposure through sponsorship or even an in-kind donation as well. In-kind donations can be leveraged as auction items, raffle prizes, golfer gifts, pin prizes, more. So you still want to recognize those businesses as sponsors on your site, even if they didn't make a financial contribution. In-kind donations can still be very effective and very valuable. But also, you want to target businesses that want to get their brand in front of that affluent, influential members of of their community. So look for businesses that would want golfers as their ideal potential client or customer. Again, you just want to point back to those golfer demographics before. Most businesses want to get in front of people like that. Um, and then next step is just to make the ask. So you want to list those packages on your event website. That makes it very easy to share a link where sponsors can commit on the spot. They can kind of peruse all the different options you have and what all comes with each sponsorship package. And this saves a ton of going back and forth with sponsors once they are ready to commit. It's kind of we see a lot of back and forth with sponsors like, hey, I need your logos, I need your other assets, your messaging, your payment. Get that all online so they can just submit that all in one foul swoop. Again, will save you a ton of time as the organizer, and it makes it as easy as possible for the sponsor to commit when they're ready. Then you also want to reach out to sponsors directly. So explain the event, the role it plays in fundraising, and the impact the dollars will have on your mission. Again, get as specific as you possibly can. And then use a template so your messaging is consistent if more than one member of your team is out there selling sponsorships. So just like we talked about with pitching golfers, same thing with sponsorships. Get that messaging, those templates, graphics, talking points, get that out to everyone who's out in the world pitching your sponsorships so that that messaging is as consistent as it possibly can be. And then you're going to need to follow up and and be persistent. Don't expect one email to sell a sponsorship. You're going to need to make some phone calls, emails, maybe to throw some text in there. Don't be afraid to delegate any of these items to your board or your planning. And don't give up if you are don't get a response right away. You need to be very persistent. That's something I know that's a lot of people aren't a fan of when it comes to selling, but this is something you'll need to do to get as many meetings as you possibly can. It can sometimes take weeks for a request to find its way to the right person or for someone to pay attention, but um, kind of fight that feeling of like, oh, I hope I'm not being annoying, and just get after it. Be as persistent as you possibly can be. And just remember, you're doing this for a good cause. You are trying to raise money for something that you believe in. So it's okay to be persistent, and you should feel good about that. So don't be afraid to follow up. It's gonna be needed. But once you do get them, recognize their contribution and find ways to maximize their exposure. Another advantage of an event website and online registration is that sponsor's logo appears right away, so they can start earning those impressions as soon as they commit. Um, and like I mentioned earlier, I love when I see organizations give that specific social media shout out to new sponsors as well, recognizing them, thanking them. That just again provides so much more value to the sponsorship. And only thing it costs you really is your time putting together the social media post, which doesn't take much time at all. So it's a great way to again maximize the exposure they're receiving, but also show your appreciation for them as well. So here's our next poll question. How likely are you to hold a golf tournament in the next 12 months? Maybe, probably, definitely. So I'll give you a few minutes or maybe like a minute to answer that while I catch my breath a little bit. All right, let's see those results here. So it looks like, oh wow, 86% are definitely holding a golf tournament in the next 12 months. That's fantastic. And the rest of you, 14%, are maybe just thinking about it. So But no, fantastic to see that most people are thinking about it. So for those of you who are definitely planning one, as well as those of you who are kind of just maybe considering it, want to kind of end before we get into the Q&A, kind of how we help at Golf Status and kind of what our goals are for any client that we serve. So really, we are a solution for charities and event organizers. We've worked with thousands of charity golf tournaments, and we work with tournaments of all types and all sizes to help them save time and raise more money. That's our really our two main goals when we work with you. Save as much time as we can for you, and then just find as many opportunities and help you raise as much money as you possibly can for the golf event. So we allow you to easily and effectively promote your event. We provide custom mobile-friendly registration websites, so it makes that promotion very easy, allows you to easily collect registrations as well as payments as part of that. And again, share your organization's story. Really get into the why behind your fundraising, why you're doing this. So give you that space to tell that story. And then we want to simplify and automate registration as much as possible. Like I said, secure online registration with donor data collection, secure payment processing. That's a huge thing you need these days and will save you so much time and will really allow you to maximize your golfers as well as the sponsors you're bringing on board. So, like I mentioned, we want to help you save as much time as possible. We've estimated that we save about 40 plus hours of work per tournament. So we have built-in tools and automations that can help save that time. That's what contributes to that number. Um, we make it very easy for you to collaborate not only with your team, your planning team, or your board, but also with the golf facility staff as well. So we make the software makes it very easy to handle all the golf specifics. You run into a lot of things with a golf tournament that you won't run into planning any other type of event. So like the scoring, the hole assignments, the formats. If you're doing flights for the tournament, if it's a handicapped event, our tournament or our software can handle all of those different golf tournament items and also make it very easy for you to allow the golf facility staff to have limited access so they can get into the software and really get everything they need to get the event set up on their end. So you are really ready and raring to go once event day rolls around. But we also make it very easy for you to attract more participants. So through that event promotion, that custom website we build for you, again, we make it super easy for you to share out. It's just as easy as sending a link out to everyone, including that within your promotional materials. Um, and the registration process through our websites is very simple, very painless, and we even have live chat button within all of our websites. So if there is anyone that needs help, they can easily reach our support team, which is here in office with us. None of that is outsourced whatsoever. But we help you put on a more fun, professional event, which is something that will really stick out in golfers' minds, especially when they consider coming back next year. They were part of an event that was really well run, well executed, and was put on for a very good cause. So the software keeps you organized, so you really can focus on the overall tournament experience again, which I think sticks out in a lot of golfers' minds. I've played in a lot of golf tournaments in my time, and I've played in some really well-run ones, and I've played in some ones that were not very well run. And I can tell you, I definitely want to spend my time playing in the events that are very well executed. So this software can definitely help with that. We also can do really fun things like mobile scoring, display live leaderboards. We have hole-in-one contests we can offer you that have some cool cash prizes. We can even help with auctions if you are an event that is combining your golf tournament with an auction on site. And then, at the end of the day, we want to help you do what probably most of you are here to do, which is raise as much money as possible for your cause. We have some exclusive sponsorships offered through our platform, including our technology sponsorship, our hole-in-one contest. We can do custom pin flags. We see with our events that are taking advantage of all of these exclusive sponsorship packages, they're bringing in $10,000 or even more in dollars that they didn't have last year. They didn't have whether they had a golf event last year or not. This is helping them bring in a lot more money, and which is again one of the biggest reasons why we exist. We want to provide you with these risk-free opportunities to bring in as much money as possible. We also allow you to easily collect those straight donations and kind of share progress towards an overall fundraising goal on your site. Our software comes with robust reporting, so you can get that golfer donor information right into your organization's donor database so you can continue to steward those folks forward. And then every client that we work with, gets one of our fundraising specialists that we have here on staff assigned to you. So these guys will work with you not only to talk about the exclusive sponsorship opportunities through GolfStatus, but just any other fundraising ideas. As well. Like these guys are in contact with thousands of golf tournaments every single year, so they've heard a lot of different fundraising strategies from different golf tournaments, and can probably offer you a lot of ideas to kind of help with your golf tournament. Whether you want to add something new, just need some new ideas, maybe you want to bounce some ideas off them, see what they think. They will be there for you, whatever you need them, and those specialists get assigned to you no extra cost. So that is just part of what you get when it comes to working with GolfStatus. And I kind of mentioned our support earlier, but we do. I would say this is one of the biggest differentiators between us and maybe some other software platforms you're considering is our support team. So not only you get your fundraising specialist assigned to you, but you also get a client success specialist assigned to you specifically as well. And they will work with you before, during, as well as after your event. From start to finish. So you do not have to be the expert at all when it comes to golf events. You can totally lean on us. So not only you have those two people assigned to you, but you can also reach our support team who are monitoring our live chat 7 days a week. Both on that support team, we even have some PGA professionals who have experience running golf facilities. So, if you're new to this, maybe you have some, golf course specific questions, these guys can help you with that as well. We are experts in this area. So lean on us as much as you possibly can. Like I said, we'll be at your constant beck and call, and we'll be there with you every step of the way, making sure you're set up for success. And then also located on our website, you can find some really great tools, tips, and trends. First off, we have our Golf for Good blog, which offers different blog posts about the latest in golf fundraising, tips, case studies, lessons learned. Then we have an online resource library as well that has more case studies, white papers, how-to guides, and templates. All of these items are completely free to download. So no matter kind of what your experience level is or where you are in your golf tournament planning journey, you likely can find something in there that can help you. If you're stuck on something specific, get in that resource library, do some searching. There's a lot of great content in there. Like I said, we worked with thousands of tournaments throughout our time, and we learn from them. We talk to them all the time, and we want to hear from them what's working, what's not working, some fresh ideas. What can we share out to our other clients or anyone else out there who's planning a golf tournament to help them? So our marketing team's done a fantastic job of collecting all that information and putting it in this resource library. So definitely go check that out at golfstatus.com. And then last thing I'll leave you with before we get into the questions is, there is no upfront cost to use GolfStatus. That's something that's unique about us as well. Our mission is to help your mission. So, we can get you set up with a GolfStatus custom event website for no upfront cost. There are costs to using our platform, but our pricing is based on the idea that we only win if you win. So we're not gonna, earn any revenue as a company unless your event is earning even more. So we're staking our success on your success. So we're very unique in that. We're very lucky that we can be set up in that way. But this really just allows us to get our technology in the hands of as many nonprofits as possible, because we know that not all nonprofits have large budgets for these types of things. So we'll get you started for nothing up front, and we'll stake our success on your event success. But we're pretty confident that we can help there. So with that, I'll bring Sam back in, and we'll take some questions.
Well, I hope you're ready for some rapid fire questions, because we have a lot of sort of things that fall into three buckets, I would say. You have a lot of questions about first time logistics. So we'll start there.
Sure.
You have a lot of questions about sponsorship, and then you have a lot of questions about revenue on the course. So let's dive first into the first time logistics. It sounds like we have a lot of first timers that are planning. We saw two people ask the question about course selection. Any recommendations for how to pick a good course or know sort of what to be looking for?
Yeah, absolutely. It's always a good strategy, kind of sit down and determine, how much money do I want to charge per golfer to play in this event? The typical pricing we see is, I don't know, $100 per golfer, which would equal, $400 a team of four golfers, or 125 per golfer, which is 500 a team. So when it comes to course selection, you really have a couple options. You have public golf courses, which will be, obviously cheaper than your private courses, and you'll likely be able to pick any day of the week to host your event. Private golf courses will be a little bit more expensive per golfer, and you'll likely be limited to a Monday to host the outing, which isn't the worst thing in the world. I actually like weekday golf outings because I can get out of the office and go play in them. But those are really your options, and really, I just recommend just calling around. Just if you're calling private courses, they likely have a person dedicated to working with outside outings. Calling a public course, just ask, "Hey, I'm interested in hosting my golf event at your golf course. I'd love more information." And they can give you all the information of what they can provide, how much they're going to charge you per golfer. Does that include, range balls? Do they have, a dining area you can use after the event or before the event? So think about those things and just ask them as many questions as you want. Like these, and something I've kind of realized working in this space for a while is I think some nonprofits have, especially first timers, have been hesitant to get in contact with golf courses. These golf courses want to hear from you. They make a lot of their yearly revenue from these outside outings, so don't be shy about reaching out to them. They want to work with you, and they will if they can.
You mentioned two things that I want to highlight there because I think they're important. One is the golf course able to support you in your planning process? Because I think the golf course is the expert on like what
Yeah.
works in the course and timing and things like that. And then do they have a central gathering spot? Because I think that's one of the most overlooked opportunities in a golf tournament is bringing folks together for that lunch or that dinner or that bite
Hmm.
before breakfast and sharing your story and your mission. So I think those
Yeah.
are two good questions. You mentioned day of the week, and that was one of the questions. There was a question from one of the members about timeline. I think Maggie was asking if it is better weekend or weekday, and if it's weekday, is there a better weekday?
Yeah, you might get different answers depending on who you ask. I like the weekday event again because, like I said, I think people like to have that excuse to get out of work. And really, when you think about it, is if you're doing a weekend, you might be contending with a lot of other things that might be in people's schedules. Where if it's a weekday, you're only contending with their work schedule. So they
Hmm.
might just have to take a day off, get out to the event. I mean, you know your donor base better than I do. So I, if you're a first timer, I mean. I would kind of go with, whatever the golf course that you end up deciding to use, whatever availability they have, and kind of go with that and see what works well. But, don't be afraid to make adjustments. If you try a weekend and you want to switch to a weekday the next year, don't be afraid to do that. Or even just send out a survey. If you have a good amount of supporters, send out a survey and ask them. It's like, hey, we're considering a golf tournament. Would you prefer playing on a weekday or a weekend? So my personal opinion is that I like the weekday tournaments, but that's just my opinion.
I think too, if you're engaging a lot of businesses, like sponsors that are bringing foursomes, or if you're a beneficiary of an association, which is one of the questions we have, weekday often because it's a business networking
Yeah,
opportunity as well. So
for sure.
one of our first time planners, Chris, says that an association has deemed them as a beneficiary, and they're wondering ways for them to utilize that time because it's not really their audience. How do they connect their story and their mission while out on the course?
Yeah, I mean, I would just really work with whoever's putting the event on. It's like, hey, uh, thank you for putting us, making us the beneficiary here. Can we be on site? And whether it's making an announcement before the event, being able to speak after the event, even having sort of a station on the golf course. Maybe can I have a tee box where we can sit and talk to golfers as they come through and kind of just briefly uh, converse with them about our mission, who we are, what we do, thank them for participating. So just work with the event organizers to set that up, and also provide the event organizers with as many graphics, assets, talking points as you can, so that you really allow them to kind of tee you up as well by telling the story on their website or whatever it may be. So just work closely with the event organizer and try and identify as many opportunities as you can to engage with their audience during the event.
One of the stories that came up in a previous session we did together was an organization who worked with children, and they had an opportunity for you to buy one of the balls that the kids had painted. And it was
Oh yeah,
just a really like light touch way for that mission to carry all the way through the course.
that's cool.
What about timing? We have a lot of questions about planning timelines.
Hmm.
Amy is asking for a foundation that has never hosted a golf tournament. How far out should they plan the tournament, and what like gives them the best opportunity to build audience?
Yeah, I mean, I would give yourself for first timers, I'd give yourself really as much time as you can. I'd say 6 months is probably a good timeline. You can do it in less than that, 4 to 6 months. But I hear all the time from first year organizers after they do it for the first time, it's like, oh, I wish I would have given myself more time. So I would err on the side of, a little bit more time if you can. But if you're thinking of doing an event this year still, you definitely can still execute one in the fall. Like you still have enough time to do that. But I would start as soon as you can.
You answered two people's questions in that answer about sort of there was a
Perfect.
question, do I have enough time if my event's in the fall? So it sounds
Yeah,
like yes.
absolutely.
Here, an organizer named Jen says that she is planning on a first time course that recommended a shotgun start of 10 a.m. And she
Mhm.
has no idea what to expect for registration. What time should she be planning to open for arrival so that she has enough time for registration?
Yeah, I think I see a lot of tournaments kind of start registration an hour before the shotgun start. So 9 a.m. I think would be just fine. And if you want to give yourself a little bit more time, you can do an 8:30 or maybe do an 8:30 if you're having people eat breakfast beforehand. That way they can show up, get some food, hit some balls, putts. So I'd say either an hour, hour and a half is good.
Amazing. Okay. So, and then there's a question about the GolfStatus software as well. So,
Mhm.
for someone who's planning for the first time, you indicated no fee. There was a question about is there a fee structure that applies down the road? And also, are there templates within that help with things like sponsorship proposals or checklists or course selection, things that would help in a first time plan?
Yeah, so all of those resources you can find. I think we have a couple of those resources in our resource library, like tournament planning checklist, templates to help make the ask of sponsorships. That's all in there. Um, and then in terms of our cost structure, how we make it work. So we don't charge you anything up front to get started. So you decide you want to work with us. We'll take your event info, your date, your course, your format, your tournament name, all that. We'll set up your account, create your event website to your liking. Where we earn our revenue is through payment processing. So our sites are built to take credit card payments. There's just a 5% platform fee for each credit card payment that comes through. That can be passed on to your participants, so they cover that for you, so you don't have to worry about that. Or you can kind of give them the option. Most of that 5% fee goes to the credit card processor, but then whatever's left over comes to us as revenue. Um, and then through our exclusive um, sponsorship packages I mentioned at the end, so our technology sponsorship, our hole-in-one contests, our pin flags, there's a cost to those as well, but that's only if you're able to sell them to a sponsor and make money off it yourself as the event. So it is completely possible to use our software at no cost to you because you have sponsors covering the cost of those sponsorship packages. You have your registrants covering that 5% credit card fee. So that's kind of what I meant when I said we're staking our success on your success. We're only going to earn revenue if your event is earning even more revenue.
Love it. And Jen just dropped a link that I want to call attention to because there are sample planning timelines and
Yeah.
checklists
Mhm.
available. Let's dive into sponsorship. There's lots of sponsorship questions. So, one of them comes from Becca, who says that in planning her gala, she usually uses a table sale as her lowest level sponsor. Is that true in golf? Is a foursome kind of your lowest entry point sponsor, and then you build your benefits from there?
No, I would say your lowest entry point sponsor for a golf tournament is like a hole sponsor. So
Okay.
at its very basic, hole sponsors they get like a little yard sign on the tee box with their logo, and we see those sell anywhere from 50 to 100, $150, sometimes $200 at a higher event, and then that you work up from there. So that whole sponsor is definitely likely your kind of your entry point for any new businesses you're working with. That'll be your lowest level sponsor.
And then Maggie wanted to know if there were any sort of like standard tiers or any sort of recommendations about best practices for sponsorship levels or templates.
Yeah, I think we have some templates that as well are example tiers. Again, it all depends on your audience, how much you're going to charge. But yeah, you typically have your title sponsor, which is your highest dollar sponsor, and then you can have some sponsors below that, like maybe your beverage cart sponsor, your dinners, lunch, breakfast sponsor, whatever it may be. I mean, there's so many different options you can have with a sponsorship. But yeah, we have, I believe, and if we do, Jen will probably drop those in the chat as well, some example tiers. You kind of have your high end, your kind of your middle of the pack sponsors where you can have different things they sponsor, as well as maybe have a few that include a team or two with the event, and then your lower level sponsors like your whole sponsor and things like that. But I believe we do have some examples that we can send your way.
Amazing. Ryan is asking, do you have any recommendations on pricing? Is that also in those samples?
Yeah, I think we do have some. I know on our website we have kind of some example event websites. Like we have like a large event, a medium-sized event, or a small local event, and those come with different sponsorship listings with pricing that matches that. Obviously, you know your donors better than I do, so you're probably going to be able to make some better pricing decisions than I can. But these will kind of give you an idea of maybe what you can charge. And also on the sponsorship front, you can set your sponsorship packages how you think they'll sell best kind of at the outset, but don't be afraid to make adjustments, especially as if you start to have conversations with potential sponsors. Don't be afraid to make some tweaks to whether it be the price, what they're receiving. Those don't have to be set in stone once you build them out.
And then Maggie also wanted to know, how do you get your first sponsor? Like, how do you get the ball rolling?
Well, you just you make the ask. So you kind of if you can you meet with them, you kind of just ask for it's kind of a sales trick as well. You just ask for the sales. Like, hey, do you want to would you like to be a sponsor of our event? Or, what will it take for you to get you to support our event this year? And then once you get them committed, then you just send them to the site, have them sign up, submit their logos, their messaging, any other assets you need from them, and then you're off to the races.
Well, Jen just shared the link to the sample pricing, which I think is
Perfect.
fantastic. I would add for Maggie, start with your board. I feel like sometimes you just need to like do those initial asks for sponsorship solicitation from people you know. So being able to start with the people you know first and get a couple of those logos showing up can build momentum for you in your sponsorship asks. Ryan also wants to know on sponsorship, do most golf courses share sponsorship costs of other events held at their course to help the org consider what sponsors are accustomed to paying at the course?
That's a good question. I've never had that one before. I would ask your golf course and see if they have that information. But on we have actually a page, events.golfstatus.com is basically our public search for all the events that we work with, and you can bring up your area or your state, and you can look through the event websites and kind of see what they're charging for
Oh,
sponsorship.
that's brilliant. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. I love that. All right, let's dive into the last couple questions. We had more about revenue generation on the course. Tess was asking, what are the best games? Are there any like emerging trends for how to raise money on the course?
I would see that, the typical things we see are, you have your hole-in-one contest, and you can have people pay for entries into that, as well as a putting contest that's set up on the practice screen. It's a long putt, and again, they pay per entry into that. One of the fun things that I've seen done a few times now is, if you're able to collect a lot of in-kind donations, basically you scatter a bunch of items on the practice screen, and people pay to hit a putt, and if their putt hits the item, they get to keep it.
Mm.
So if you have the ability to procure a lot of those really cool items, that's a fun thing to do as well. I mean, I've seen things, like, obviously you have your typical, long drive closest to the pin. Donation stations on the golf course. I've seen the number of those as well. That's kind of where you do set up someone from your nonprofit to talk about your mission, collect just straight donations. Um, and then I've seen a bunch of other things like, I've even seen photo booths on the golf course. I mean, there's so many things you can do throughout the kind of the flow of the golf tournament. I think there's a lot of things that you can do that won't really necessarily upset the pace of play. It'll keep everyone moving, but it allows you to um, do just more fun things for golfers that'll raise money. I've even seen it had some, I'm blanking on what it was. It had something to do with a deck of cards. They had like a dealer, and I think um, I just cannot remember exactly what that game was. I heard it and I really liked it.
Jen says poker hand.
Poker hand. Yes, it was a poker hand on one of the tee boxes at the golf course. I'm blanking on how exactly it worked, but it was a really cool fundraising idea. So there's a lot of different things you can probably think of to make the event more fun or inject some natural fundraising contest games into the event, but also just having those add-ons available as well. Like, every golf event sells a ton of mulligans. Sometimes they have a whole like, hey, you can pay. a certain amount of money to tee your ball up a lot closer on a par five to give yourself an advantage. You can buy a hole in one for this par three. So kind of tapping into golfers' natural competitive nature works really well too.
I love it. You have a lot of recommendations coming up too. Jen is explaining that they drew cards on different holes, and whatever team had the best hand at the end won a prize.
Absolutely. That's
Tess
right.
is selling the hand for $20, and if they get a par three, they get on the green. They can choose a new card. Christopher is saying that they use drag queens on the beverage cart. That sounds like a blast, Christopher. I want to be at your golf tournament. And you had one last question I wanted to make sure to tackle too. Is there a price range for these kinds of entries that you recommend?
Um, uh, it depends on the contest, the entry. Like mulligans, you could sell for $1 a piece. You could sell a bundle for $10, $20. Um, it kind of just boils down to what you think they'll pay. So you want to keep the dollar amount kind of smaller, so it's not anything obscene. And if you are someone that's doing like multiple contests, multiple games, you'll have a package that they can buy that gets them kind of a discounted entry into all of them. Whether it kind of be like all-in games package or whatever you want to call it. So I would keep the dollar amount probably somewhere between, if it's like a putting or hole-in-one contest, that you could pay like anywhere from 10 to $30 a person, or um, mulligans again. That those are on the cheaper side of things, but don't be afraid to kind of experiment with how much you want to charge per that. Enough money so that it's worth it for you, but also not too much so that you're gonna have golfers turning you down.
Well, our time here today is up. Lots of amazing ideas to inspire all the first time planners out there. Lots of incredible resources. I encourage everyone to go to the resource library at GolfStatus. There are so many deep dive solutions to answer all the questions that came up. Thank you, Logan, for today. We will share out this webinar, and we'll have a copy for everyone. And thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone.